Rainy days call for bacon, so today we are going to be making this amazing Italian bread. Hope you enjoy. We're going to need 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of instant dry yeast, 1 1/4 cups of water, and 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. Here I have a large bowl, and the first thing I'm going to do is pour in my water. Next up, I'm going to add in my salt. Then I'm going to add my instant dry yeast. With a wooden spatula, I'm going to stir to combine the ingredients really well. Last but not least, I am going to add in my all-purpose flour into the mixture, and we're going to combine. As we're mixing, you might notice that our mixture is a little bit dry, but don't worry, because our mixture is supposed to be, or our dough rather, is going to end up a little bit crumbly and not perfect. Once our dough is nice and combined, this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to grab a piece of plastic wrap, cover it, and let it rest for 30 minutes. Okay, so after 30 minutes, here we have our dough, and at this moment we are going to stretch out our dough and fold it in 4 rounds. The only reason we are not kneading this dough is because this is a high hydration dough and it is very difficult to knead by hand. Therefore, we're just going to stretch it out like you are seeing here. I'm going to grab it, stretch it to the top, fold it over to the opposite side. Then I'm going to turn my bowl around 90 degrees and do the same until all 4 sides are done. If your dough breaks as you're stretching it out, do not worry, because as we go, our dough is going to form a better consistency and the texture is going to be a lot softer. Now we're going to let our dough rest or proof for 30 more minutes. Once we let our dough rest a second time for 30 more minutes, we are going to repeat the same process and stretch out our dough to the opposite side. In between the proofing sessions of our dough, we are going to notice that it becomes a lot easier to stretch out our dough, and our dough has a softer and smoother consistency. Now we are going to cover it and let it proof a third time for 30 minutes. After a third time of letting our dough proof for 30 minutes, this will be the last time that we repeat the process of stretching out the dough and folding it over to the opposite side. And we will let it sit and proof for a last round of 30 minutes before we continue to our next step. Overall, our dough has been proofing and sitting or resting, however you would like to call it, for 2 hours total. Okay, so now here I have parchment paper on top of my surface, and I am sprinkling some flour so our dough does not stick. I'm going to flip over my bowl and let my dough detach on its own. The reason I am not physically lifting the dough with my hands and taking it out is because I do not want to pop the air bubbles or the air pockets that it has. I now sprinkled some flour on top of my dough so my hands do not stick to the dough, and now I am stretching it out, forming it into a rectangle. I am carefully doing this so I do not pop all of the air bubbles at once from my dough. Once my dough is stretched out into a rectangle for my longest die, I am going to start rolling my dough in. And now I will cut my long piece of dough into 3 pieces. Now, after cutting my dough into 3 equal pieces, I am going to separate them in the parchment paper on my surface, and I'm going to sprinkle some flour on top. And now for one last time, I am going to proof this dough for 45 minutes to an hour, covering with the plastic wrap. Here I have my cookie sheet. I have placed a piece of parchment paper on top as well as sprinkled some flour. 45 minutes are up, and as you can see, my dough has risen and it's a lot bigger now. So now I will carefully grab my pieces and place them onto the cookie sheet and take them to the oven. Before putting them on the cookie sheet, I am trying to elongate my pieces carefully by not deflating them. I preheated my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will let my bread cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. After 22 minutes in the oven, my bread is finally ready. Look how delicious it looks. I'm going to let it cool for about 10 to 15 minutes before cutting it. This bread came out absolutely delicious. I really recommend that you guys try this out. I had some pieces with some extra virgin olive oil along with some salt and pepper. It is amazing that way. Or we can even make a sandwich out of this, which I will show you in the next clip. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and that you make this bread. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and until my next video, bye. I did forget to add my mayo in the video, but I added it afterwards. I'm sorry.